I'm Dr. Rob Brander from the University of New South Wales, and I'm a surf scientist and surf lifesaver. During the summer months in Australia, on average, somebody drowns in a rip every 2 or 3 days, and most of the thousands of rescues that happen on our beaches are related to rips. Remember that it only takes about a minute to drown, so it's very important to be able to spot rips on your own.
Now, if you haven't noticed, I've been swimming between the flags, and that's where everybody should swim because the lifesavers and the lifeguards put the flags in the safest part of the beach away from the rips. And if you don't know what a rip is, if you swim between the flags, that takes a lot of the guesswork out of having to spot one.
Well, what are rips? It's a really good question. And what we do is we throw purple dye, which is harmless, into the water. The dye goes wherever the water goes, and it's an easy way to spot the rip.
Well, let me tell you what rips are not. They're not undertow. They won't pull you under because there's no such thing as an undertow. They're not rip tides because they're not a tide. They're a current. They flow pretty steady, and they won't take you to New Zealand.
Basically, rips are strong, narrow currents that flow from the shoreline through the surf zone and offshore. They exist to take all the breaking water that's piling up on the beach back out to sea.
Here you see a nice green gap, almost like a road going through the surf. And that's the rip current because it's sitting in a deeper channel, in this case between the reef and the sandbar. But look at it, there's no waves breaking, there's hardly any white water. Whereas you look to the right, you've got your sandbar, shallow water, waves are breaking there, bringing all that water in and back out through the rip. It looks perfect, and that's how you spot it. It's a pretty scary experience getting stuck in a rip, and there's definitely some do's and don'ts about how you should behave if you do find yourself caught in one. The main thing is not to panic. Don't panic because the rip will not pull you under the water. All the rip will do will take you further out to sea and it'll sometimes bring you back. Remember that you've got air in your lungs, you float, you're very buoyant, so don't panic. The second thing to do is if you're not a particularly good swimmer, put your hand up, straight up like that, signals for the lifeguards and the lifesavers to come and get you. What you could also do if you're a good swimmer is you could look around. And if you can see the sides of the rip, which is usually the shallower water where the waves are breaking, a lot of white water, swim towards that area. White water is good because it means it's shallow, you can maybe stand up, and also white water brings you back to the beach. What you should never do is swim against the rip. These things flow pretty fast, and you'll just find yourselves going backwards, swimming faster, getting tired, and then you'll start to get scared. So just go with the flow, signal for the lifeguard, or let the rip take you around and get out of it yourself.
One of the reasons that rips are dangerous is that they flow faster than people can swim, and sometimes they can flow faster than even Olympic swimmers. Rips are most dangerous because they actually look like the safest place to swim. A view from a headland is always a good way to spot a rip because you're up high and you're looking down at the beach and they're a lot easier to see. And often surfers and swimmers will check out the beach for rips before they go down in the water. If there's no lifeguards or flags on the beach, the simple rule is don't go in. If you do go in, make sure you're an experienced swimmer or surfer, make sure you're always with somebody, and make sure you know how to spot rips.